Adding more locations should multiply your success, not your problems. And that's what happens a lot of times. For most businesses, growth, it doesn't just bring opportunity, it oftentimes brings chaos. You get overwhelmed with your headquarters teams. There's unclear responsibilities, systems crack under pressure, just things start to break when growth happens, especially when you start multiplying the locations of your business. And in this video, I'll show you the launch tracks that let you roll out new locations, which I've done many, many times. And you can do it with clarity, and you can do it with control, and you can do it with scalability. It's nice and clean without burning out your core team. I'm Brett from brettcpayne.com, and I help growth stage businesses. Sometimes it's individual businesses growing, and sometimes it's businesses that are adding in, various entities around their city or their state or even around the country or the world. And I help franchises expand without losing control, because growth is not about hustling harder. That's what people think. It's really not about that. It's about building rollout systems that will protect your quality and your energy, and most important, your sanity. So let's build your tracks. Launch track number one is standardized onboarding. With every new location, it should start the same exact way, with the same training, same setup, and the same expectations, from hiring checklist to supply chain setup to system logins to software. Whatever it is, it should be exactly the same every single time. And so you want to make it a kit, not a guessing game on how to open up your new locations. Launch track number two is tiered support. So not every question should end up in your inbox. It's completely overwhelming. And as the owner and the founder, you don't want to wake up every day and have to check your inbox 17 times a day just to be putting out fire. You have to separate core system support from local ownership. That's a very important thing, that you are able to identify what are the things that you should support as your headquarters, and what things should the location be able to support with the resources that you've given to them. So how does that work? Well, the headquarters should own the playbook, you should own the compliance, and you should own critical resources. Those three things are really within the purview of the headquarters, but then you've got to release the other things. The local teams need to own the day-by-day decisions and the execution of what you want and the customer experience. So if you're handling issues like that, like decisions for that local place, they're just day-by-day operational things. It's not really for you, it's for them. There's a way to solve all that, and also how to execute on what you as the chief executive officer are saying, this is my dream, this is my vision, and you have that location to execute on your vision. That's what they're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be micromanaging and doing it for them and just making sure that your customers are super happy at every location. That local team should own that, or own those three core things for your business. If you want to grow without drowning your core team, hit that subscribe button, because I post weekly strategies to help you scale without losing your grip. Launch track number three, communication bridges. The bigger you get, the faster communication begins to break down. So what do you do about that? Well, you have to build a few things. You have to build a shared dashboard for live updates. Every location can look at the dashboard, know what is going on, and you, as the head of your headquarters, you can look at a different kind of dashboard, and it will tell you what is going on in the various locations. Maybe it's the number of members, maybe it's revenue, maybe it's projects that are happening. It could be a number of things. You pick out those KPIs, those metrics that you look at that are the most important indicators of how your business is doing. Everybody needs a dashboard. The other thing you need to build is a weekly check-in for alignment. So whether that is a staff meeting on a Google Meet or a Zoom call, or maybe it's a meeting on Slack or Discord or something like that, but there has to be a check-in. With my brick and mortar businesses, I even have our managers do a walk through their location with a piece of software that we put together, and they go through every single part of their business to make sure to take pictures and is this in place. I just want to make sure everything looks right. And then we have a scale that it just kind of grades them. It also lets our team know if there's an issue that we need to call them and help them adjust, right? Because they want to fit according to the brand, but sometimes things just get out of hand. So we have check-ins like that as well. The third thing you want to have is clear escalation paths for urgent issues, okay? So if somebody has something that they need assistance with, what do? They text, they call, they put a message in Slack, a support ticket system. Like, what are those methods that are in place? And do the locations know what those methods are so that they can use them to get to the right people? people. Now, I love knowledge bases. I love a piece of software called Freshdesk. I think it's free, to be honest with you. Even if you have to pay for it, you can. All of your documentation, your SOPs, videos, everything in this platform, and it gives my locations a single point of contact. If something happens, they're not texting random people, right? They're looking in the knowledge base to see if they can get the answers, or they're submitting a ticket, and that ticket is kind of navigated inside of Freshdesk. So the right people, you want them to see the right info at the right time. That's very, very important. So let me ask you, if you opened up, let's say 5 locations next week, how would you keep everyone aligned without doubling your team? How would you do that? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear your plan. I want to see what your plan is. Maybe I'll jump in and see if I can maybe add to that or help you out if you get stuck on something, or if there's a little red flag that I can draw attention to. Launch track number 4, defined responsibilities by phase. Every rollout has 3 stages. You've got number 1, your pre-site prep. On headquarters, that's going to be very, very heavy on the workload. What has to happen? It's the beginning with the end in mind idea, right? So you've got the plan in place. It's the pre-site prep. That's all on headquarters to think through, how do I want this thing to get opened? The second stage is called the pre-opening. This is when you're going to have shared responsibility between you and the new location. So maybe it's a manager and staff, but you're collaborating together to get that thing open. So maybe it's putting in furniture, maybe it's connecting vendors, maybe it's getting product in place. There's going to be a collaboration that happens. That's the second stage. And then the third stage is going to be post-launch. And post-launch means they are now open for business. Lights are on. Everybody knows, customers know they can come in here, and that weight shifts over to your local team. So you've got your pre-site prep, you've got your pre-opening when you're collaborating, and then all that responsibility, or most of it, is going to be shifted over to your local staff, which is the post-launch. It's always the 3 stages. Chart it out, put names to the roles of who's supposed to do what, and make it impossible for people to wonder who owns this part of the process. Launch track number 5, automate the handoffs. This is the glue that keeps the tracks going smooth. So when a phase gets completed, then there's automation that should be in place that should really trigger what the next step is in the checklist. You can use Google Sheets to do these kinds of things. You can use Trello, which is a great tool for these kind of things. I like to use Asana. There's several of these other kind of, we call them project management systems, that have, dates and responsibilities for the tasks to be completed. And then once something is completed, it triggers kind of the next task in that. As a matter of fact, if you were to set up an Asana project for this, I would really, really separate it by that pre-launch. I'd have another whole section for the pre-opening stage, and then a whole other section for the post-launch, so that it's all there, right? So you want automation that's going to trigger those next steps in the checklist. The other thing is it's going to notify the right owner. Again, if you use a tool like Asana, you can put notifications in there and you can assign every task to that person. So I have a rule in these businesses that we have: every task that you put in place, it's not a legitimate task unless it has a date assigned to it and unless it has an owner assigned to it. Otherwise, it's just going to float around in oblivion. So the automation that you create in moving the handoffs from one stage to another should absolutely notify the owner. Make sure that there's an app or something on their phone that, and they have the notifications set on so they can go and review that every single day and see when something's done, right? The third thing is you want it to update the shared dashboard, whatever that dashboard is. And again, I say dashboard like it's going to be this fancy thing with charts. It could literally, again, in Asana, it could be just a project. That's totally fine. It just needs to be something visible. Let me tell you a trick about Asana. Make sure in the top right corner, there's a filter button. And that filter button, if you click on it, there's an option that says hide completed tasks. Always use that if you use Asana or whatever platform you use that little filter, because otherwise your dashboard's going to be really huge with tons of tasks. You don't want hundreds of tasks on there. It's overwhelming. So as you check things off and whatever, you can do this in Google Sheets also. You can hide completed tasks. You're just looking at what has to be done. I break this all down in really deep detail in a video that I did called Automation That Keeps Headquarters and Locations in Sync. Long title, very pertinent to this. And I break it all down in that video. And that video is going to show you how to keep every location connected without manually chasing anything. The link is in the description for you. Scaling without chaos isn't luck, it's infrastructure. infrastructure. You have to build it from the very beginning. It does take time, but if you take the time to do it, then you can repeat it over and over and over. I would say that I put in lots of locations, not just here in the United States, not just in Missouri where I live, but I've put them in some of the remotest parts of the world. I've put franchise locations in Abuja, Nigeria, Kathmandu, Nepal. I've put them in South America. I put them all over the Middle East, and we've put them in lots of different languages. We've put them in Canada where they speak French. So, but you have the structure so that when someone says, hey, I would like to expand your business over here, you decide so that when the opportunity comes, you are ready. In business, opportunities will not come to you if you do not have the container to fulfill them. That alone is worth this video, okay? I spend a lot of time building infrastructures for things that I foresee I want to do in the future. It may be 6 months from now, might be 2 years from now, but I'm going to think through the hard part. I'm going to think through all that now and put that in place because I know once I have it, you start seeing things through different filters. And all of a sudden, opportunities start to come your way, but it does. And I would encourage you with the existing business you have right now, don't just build for one other single location. Now, if you build it like that for a place that may not be as easy to roll out as if you put it in Louisville, Kentucky, but if you do it for the hardest place, every other place will be easy. How do I know this? I know this because when I started the franchise for Classic Rock Coffee, which you could Google that, it's based here in Springfield, Missouri, the first location that I ever put in, ever, is I sold the rights to our franchise for the country of Pakistan. And so when I did that, we were going to put a location in Islamabad, which we did. We had a Classic Rock Coffee location in Springfield, Missouri, and Islamabad, Pakistan. So we put that one there. I remember when I was in Dubai, we were getting ready at 3 a.m. to go to Islamabad. We had already sent staff over. We built the coffee house. It was getting ready to open. I was going there for the opening. And we came back and the thought went through my head, if I can sell a franchise in Islamabad, Pakistan and open it up and it runs exactly the same as Springfield, Missouri, I can do this anywhere. And all of a sudden, the world opened up. There was no place that they talked to me about putting a Classic Rock Coffee in that I was even slightly concerned because we had done it successfully in a part of the world that I was completely unfamiliar with. To see how to keep these systems that I'm talking about running that I did after the launch, go watch the video I mentioned before, automation that keeps headquarters and locations in sync. That's how you make sure every new location runs as smoothly as the first one. That video is going to teach you how to do it. The link is in the description. I will see you there.